Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 888. I am Steven in Edmonton.
Warren in Victoria.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Warren's in Victoria this week for doing a provincial capital tour of all the capitals. He won't be in Edmonton, of course. I mean, that's no. How many provincial capitals have you been in, Warren? Have you been to Regina, Saskatchewan?
I think as a kid I was in Regina. I've definitely been to Toronto and Ottawa, so that covers off national and provincial.
Winnipeg? What about Winnipeg?
I have been to Winnipeg.
Okay.
I was
Quebec
born
City?
near Winnipeg.
That's right, you were. Quebec City?
I've not been to Quebec City. I've been to Montreal, so that doesn't... Does that a provincial capital?
Not a provincial capital. No, it's Quebec City.
What
about Fredericton? What about Fredericton?
Nope. Nothing past Quebec.
Okay, Charlottetown.
Nope. I've never been to the Atlantic provinces.
I know. Now I'm just rattling off for the people at home to know what the provincial capitals are.
St. John's and Halifax?
Haven't been to those? No? St. John's, Halifax? No. What about, have you been to Whitehorse, Yellowknife, Iqaluit?
I have not been. No, none. I haven't been to the north either.
Okay, there you go, everyone. That was your provincial and territorial capitals in Canada.
With Warren Fry.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed that. There are only 13
Mostly with Steven Chibnall. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I think I've only been to Victoria for sure.
Yeah.
Here, Edmonton.
Edmonton is the capital
I've been
of
to
Alberta.
the airport in Toronto, but never Toronto proper. So I don't know if that counts.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. That airport
I've been to
access
Halifax.
doesn't count.
No. Yeah, you've been to Halifax. I haven't been to Halifax, so exciting. I've been to, went to Winnipeg and Regina just this past summer on a road trip to the United States of America.
The general rule, Americans, is that much like in America, the less interesting big city is the one that's the state capital.
Well, they
or
put
provincial capital.
Yeah, I know. Well, they I think how they did it back then was that they put let's put the state capital in the middle of the state so that all the farmers from all around just have an equal amount of distance to go, and so that's why you've got like Frankfort, Kentucky, as the capital of there, and Jefferson City, Missouri. Yeah, I'm impressing you Americans, aren't I? Rattling these actual state capitals.
My favorite is Albany. You've got one of the greatest cities in the world, and yet you go, Albany.
Yeah.
Also, Ottawa, point of trivia, the reason I learned this on a tour of Parliament was the reason it is where it is, way the hell above the American border, is because it would take longer to get there to invade back in the day. That's what Queen Victoria said. If the Americans ever decide to invade, Toronto is a lot easier to get to than Ottawa. Let's move it way further up.
See, you know what?
Victoria was something to do with like appeasing people on Vancouver Island.
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah,
something like that.
When I played Age of Empires, which is coming to Xbox on January 30th, I found out and immediately pre-ordered, which is amazing news for me. I would build my big castle far away as well, so that it could not be invaded. So
there you go.
I have no idea how we're going to segue this nonsense talk into Doctor Who, but
trebuchets, perhaps.
We use a trebuchet in Age of Empires to tell you that Gallifrey One is but 4 weeks away.
Good golly.
But boy, oh boy, big update this past week. Chris Chibnall, Doctor Who executive producer, of course, for the past 5 or 6 years on Doctor Who, is coming to Gallifrey One, folks. The whole weekend, he's going to do a lot of stuff. He's wanted to come for a while, and he's very happy to show up at the convention that weekend. Amazing. That is, it took Steven Moffat basically had to be kind of cajoled, because I remember at the closing ceremonies of the 2017 one or 2018
something
one?
like that, yeah.
I can't remember which years are which now. They Sean Lyon main stage said, here, let's film tell Steven Moffat that we would love for him to come here, and everyone was massive round of applause and cheering and all this stuff, and that's kind of what got him there. And Chris Chibnall needed no such coaxing. He's coming, so
he's very excited.
Moffat before he was showrunner was a quasi-regular attendee of Galley, so
that's true.
So it's not like he didn't know what went on or what the drill was.
No. And Chibnall's, I think he's always wanted to go, even before he was writing on Doctor Who.
Possibly.
Yeah. And he's, he used to send all the the video greetings of him, and sometimes Jodie Whittaker popped in there. I think Steven Moffat did it one time. I think during the look, like, hello everyone at Gallifrey One. This is what I love about Gallifrey One, about how it, I saw an iTunes review, which was glowing, which is nice. Thank you, listener. But they also said, but they sure do talk a lot about Gallifrey One. Well, we are the official podcast of Gallifrey One, but also B, it's like, it feels like the entire Doctor Who universe sort of like pauses and convenes there, either in person or in spirit. During that weekend in LA. And it's, when the people who are making Doctor Who at that time are basically sending videos to say, hello, everyone, we wish you could be there. Yeah, it kind of feels that. So,
I mean, Jodie Whittaker, who is, as of yet, still the Doctor, more or less, is going to be there in 4 weeks.
I know. So we got Chibnall, we got Whittaker, we got, there's going to be basically a Power of the Doctor reunion in many ways, because Sophie Aldred, Janet Field are going to be there. Jamie Magda Stone, the director, is going to be there. There's a lot of people who are there who worked on that last story, that quite amazing story, quite frankly, of the Power of the Doctor. It's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be a nice little celebration, and a nice celebration for a lot of people like you two chaps who have not been there since 2020. Last year obviously was fun too, but not all of us were there, and there was that slight melancholy or sort of wistful thinking about, I wish how everyone is here, but I'm glad I'm here. Well, now everyone's sort of coming back, and will hopefully be free of COVID, everyone, insofar that you've been vaccinated and have to show your
and masked
and all that, which is perfectly fine. We did it last year and it was fine. It was fine. It was fun.
Another con. It was fun.
Yeah. We even drank. All right, I drank a lot at last year's convention. Not even. I had all my little things with a little water bottle. It was not water, and I would just sort of like pop up, open the mask underneath, and back down, and there we go. And the drinking's done. So if you're worried about that, if you're worried how you'll keep up on your alcoholism, everyone, it's fine.
I've got to balance one out with the other.
Yeah.
Something's going to be bad for me. It better be booze.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So I think we had hoped or alluded to the fact that we might have had a live show announcement this past week that we would talk about a bit more on this show. It's not happening yet. I imagine the appearance of one Doctor Who showrunner on the schedules has perhaps thrown a little wrench into things, a good wrench, if you will. And so things are a little bit up in the air. I don't. This breaking news. I don't think Chris Chibnall is going to be in our live show, but we will have a live show announced.
That's not really breaking news. That's pretty much a given.
A given. Because not that we get the dregs of anything. We got some pretty good guests lined up, but he's appearing later in the day.
He's much like Jodie Whittaker. They're going to want that all to one session.
Yep, the details of which will be coming soon, I imagine, as the schedule gets whittled down and honed and stuff. We've sort of been going back and forth with Sean about what's going on in the live show, what we're little things that we're going to be doing as well on the live stage. So fun stuff. But there was an update as well to the convention, like Kathy Klatch sign-ups start January 28th. Chris, you've been to one or two of those now. Are you thinking of maybe doing another one?
If I can actually get signed up, because it's not at a convenient time for me, so other people might beat me to the punch.
Rabbits.
But depending on who's doing the coffee clutches, yeah, maybe I might try.
Well,
they are fun.
Yeah, I did. Did we do
Except
one?
they insist on taking your picture at the end, and I don't like that because I don't like my photo being taken.
Oh. I don't know if they did that.
Chris, I'm not a fan of the photo being just swallowing my soul, for one thing.
Yeah, I think I did one. I did one with Dick Fiddy from the BFI one year, and he was there. I think, or did I just interview him in the room?
No,
right
we
after
interviewed him. We interviewed him after his coffee clutch in the room.
That's what it was. I didn't think I went to a
because that was the Sunday night as things were wrapping, or Sunday afternoon or whatever as things were wrapping up or winding down.
That rings a bell, man. One day we'll actually look back through our history and say, "Oh yeah, look at that thing we did. That's something." Well,
yeah, like that time we talked to Ian Chesterton himself.
We talked to William Russell. I remember that. One. Me and Ken Deep talked to him.
I still remember when we did the interview with Richard Senior. Just how animated. The dude was bouncing off his chair.
He was, yeah. Richard
it
Senior,
was a
director
hoot.
of Let's Kill Hitler. Yeah, I think it's that same year. I think it was in the hallway.
The same year as it was, because the same year as Phil Siegel and some others. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. Good times at Gallifrey One, everyone. Should be a wonderful time. Again, I have it's gotten to the point where I am adding the LA weather to my weather app so I can see.
I
I've
never
not
take
done
that.
that
I
yet.
never take that off.
You always want to know what the weather's going to be like in LA.
51 weeks out of the year, it's useless to me. But,
Well, yeah. Why would
for
you
that
even-
1 week, then that means I don't have to,
Oh.
remember to add it or remove it because it's just there.
I just looked,
Yeah.
and I do the same, Chris. Apparently,
Yeah. It's like mid-teens, mid to late teens, Celsius wise right now. But that means nothing because it's like still a bit ways out. So, but just to wonder what to pack, what to wear, what to dress for, what to plan for, all this
yes,
sort of
the
stuff.
month
So,
early pre-packing, as is your tradition.
well, I do have some new microphones, for basically for like 1 or 2 recordings I have, but I bought them, so I'm going to use them. Damn it! So, yeah. A lot of people listen, you haven't been in 3 years. So like, you just have like, how do I do this again? What should I pack? What does one do at Gallifrey?
No, I know what I'm packing.
Oh.
Close my iPad. That's pretty much it.
Fine.
And room for dollies. That's what the main thing.
Oh yeah.
What are your Dolly hopeful gets this year?
Probably the regeneration set, which I'm betting I won't get because it'll be snapped up immediately, and then anything stupid. Oh, and also companions to the Doctor, because I don't have the current companions that are the next to last current companions of the Doctor.
The Jodie companion set.
The Jodie ones, yeah, basically. I don't have those yet. I just haven't gotten around to getting them, so hopefully those will be sitting around there somewhere.
Right.
And then, it's like I've got enough of the core stuff that if it's silly, then I'll get it. And those are usually cheaper, too.
Yeah.
As Steven once texted me with the Mox of Balhoun, why do you not own this
I
blue
know.
bleep? And I'm like, good point. Let's go fix that.
And he got him. It was loose. He's loose on the table there. I mean, like, not in packaging is what I mean to say, but
Like that one time
I mean,
we got
who
the
knows?
free.
Don't mock shame.
no, I will not
Like
do
the
that.
one time we got the free faceless Grandma Connolly.
That's true.
She shows up. She's good value for the dollar for Bookshelf Doctors. I got to tell you, the dollar being nothing.
Yeah. They also the Gallifrey One the update there. I mentioned the sort of the details with the Whittaker interview session. So there's going to be like there's going to be one of them is going to be on Saturday at 5. I can't remember now. Maybe I shouldn't be quoting
Saturday
things.
at
that don't-
5, yeah.
Saturday at 5 and Sunday at 11. So basically, you go to one or the other. So there, and then it sort of outlined the process of lining up for it and getting ready for it and all that. So I think they're like the Sunday morning they're opening it like an hour and a half I think before the actual thing.
It
The
says
doors.
9:30 here. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all that's in the Gallifrey One update in the Gallifrey One website, also on radiofreescar.com where all the show notes are and stuff, all this sort of stuff. Well, we of course will do our full Gallifrey One preview show the week leading up to it, which is February 12th, I think is the show that's the one that goes out. Yeah.
I believe so. Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So
And the convention schedule is coming soon.
Coming soon.
Expected within the next week.
next week. Of course, that initial update was posted, I think, before Chibnall was announced.
It was
Just
posted
after.
the day before yesterday
Just
as
after.
we record. So
Yeah. So could be this week. Could be this week coming up here, which is exciting stuff.
yes.
On
But
to
they're
yes.
just to throw it out there for the nth year in a row, they're using Sked,
Mhm.
which is a very, very, very good tool for managing
I
and
agree.
organizing your
Yeah.
time at the con, and it's got a nice dedicated app for your phone and all that. So use it.
Yeah. I think it's replacing the book. I don't think they had a book last year, actually. So
Oh,
I think
you got to think how much must that cost to print
Exactly.
every year, though, right?
right. Yeah.
And I got
That's-
to praise them for sending it to those of us who weren't able to attend.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm looking at
Oh,
my.
see, we
I
did
got
get
my.
that, didn't we?
Yeah, I know. I'm
And the
looking
pin,
at my
that pin.
my Gallifrey One, the Plague Years pin. Got it right here in front of me. I have not. I'm scared to put it on anything that I own because I don't want to lose it. So therefore it sits here. But I think I might have to.
It's on my work desk,
Yeah.
and the pin is on my bulletin board of pins.
Oh well. The pin is coming to Gallifrey One here. If you can hear that, there it is. It's on the table next to the things that I plan to pack. So yes, Warren, I am sort of already putting stuff aside to pack.
I never thought any different.
I know.
Or better or worse.
Well, I might forget otherwise.
Warren, let's wear our 10-0 pins.
I've got it. I could, but then I'd lose it, and I don't want to lose it because I've had it for 40 years.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I will tell last year, because masks and stuff. I didn't want people to not know who I was, so I wore. Remember,
yes, that's really going to happen. Okay.
I know. Remember the magnet pins that we had for our very first one in 2009. I wore mine. I wore that. So
I've got that kicking around someplace.
I recommend wearing that just for fun. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, because I'm not noticeable at all at my height and size. So
that's true. So other
Warren blends in with everyone else. He's gonna get
Chris. When you got nothing else, I guess you're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You and Dan Peck, who are you? What? I can't tell the difference between the two
handsome
of you.
bald gentlemen. That's who we are.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, is that it? Is that for Gallifrey One stuff this week? I'm sure there'll be more because we love talking about it. It's a fun time. And then let's move on to Doctor Who, the actual television show, but which this podcast is based. They had a cast announcement. Another couple of actors joining the show for the upcoming production block. It is Anita Dobson and Michelle Greenidge is joining the next series. That's it. They didn't announce their character names. There's just a couple of photos of them. Apparently, though, the one of Anita Dobson standing in front of the door, Russell T. Davies posted on Instagram. But what does the door mean? Question mark.
Who knows? Who knows?
Probably nothing.
I don't.
Teasing. I don't know. I think there's something to do with it. He was on.
You know what we should do?
What?
Ask Chris Chibnall what it means at Gallifrey One.
That would be wonderful.
Every one of these mysterious hints
yes.
that Russell T. Davies gives, ask Chris Chibnall, who I'm sure has all the answers.
All the answers. So yes, ask me about stuff that's coming after me. That sounds great.
Michelle Greenidge was in It's a Sin, and I've also seen her in Mandy, which is a sitcom with Diane Morgan, which is quite good.
Who is Diane Morgan? Why does that name sound familiar?
AKA Philomena Kunk.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who that is? Oh.
Yeah.
From those things.
From those things. Yes.
From those things that she does.
She was also in Afterlife, the Ricky Gervais show.
Oh, I never watched that.
Well, we'll try to forget about Ricky Gervais.
Several things.
Yeah. Anita Dobson has been in many, many things. She was in a Red Dwarf episode that we watched recently. Erica and I watched an episode of Red Dwarf recently from season 6, I think it is.
She was on an episode of the Great British Menu in last series of the series before.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, not to take anything away from her and her accomplishments, but Mrs. Brian May as well.
It's quite something too. So Brian May is that's a backwards way of saying that Brian May and the surviving members of Queen are doing the soundtrack now for Doctor Who series 14.
That's exactly not true.
In the style of Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Flash Gordon the soundtrack was for Doctor Who?
I'm sure RTD has said, my one mandate is to pander to one Canadian amendment.
Oh, that would be so amazing.
Outdated taste.
That would be so amazing.
I would rather have the Highlander efforts than Flash Gordon.
Are you kidding me? God, the soundtrack for Flash Gordon's amazing.
Here's my thing. I watched Flash Gordon. It's not that good.
Oh, it's awful, but great at the same time. That's
all right. Okay, I see where you're coming from.
You see what I mean? It's just amazing. It has to be seen. Plenty of Doctor Who. Anita Dobson was on in that movie. But it came out in 1980. Anyway, it's that's it. The official thing sort of said, here are the two actors, and then the press release goes on to say the usual boilerplate. Doctor Who returns in November 2023 with 3 special episodes, and then Ncuti Gatwa's first episode airing over the festive period in 2023, which, as some people have surmised, that isn't 2024, which means it's not going to be New Year's Day, which I didn't think it was. It's Christmas. It's going to be on at Christmas, everyone. Act surprised. So there.
Although that door she's opening is TARDIS blue.
See, I wasn't. Oh, I see. The previous one, yeah. I think it's the door that is that the door that Russell T. Davies was talking about, or was the one that Anita Dobson is standing in front of, the one that she's talking about?
I do not know.
There are 2 doors. There's a door in each thing. I don't know. which door he meant. It's going to be a long 10 months to find out the answer. Not even, because they're shooting this is for next year. So
they're shooting in Bristol right now, I think.
Bristol.
Anita Dobson has been seen in like set report stuff, hence the press release of her involvement.
Yeah. How are I mean, we don't divulge set reports on this show, but I have to admit that I am a little curious about set reports these days, and I don't know if I should be, if I want to be completely green going into these, but it's going to be a year from now anyway.
I mean, you poked your head through the set report door for like last July or whatever when they were filming The Specials Lieutenant.
Yeah, I was very intrigued by it, I got to tell you. And I think I am again. I don't know. I don't go looking for them, but if they float across my my timeline, I don't turn away. I think that's based on my philosophy. But anyway, so I can't remember who posted this initially. It might have just been on Shooty Gatwa's an Instagram or something, but Bad Wolf everyone's quote tweeted it now. Yeah. But there's pictures of Shooty Gatwa at the Bad Wolf Studios. They've put up this great little sort of mural on the side of the wall with a nice sort of artist rendering of Shooty Gatwa leaning against the TARDIS and smiling. And it says, and this is the key here, the home of the Hooniverse. Almost like a branded message there. Yeah. Just further confirmation that the spin-offs are a-coming, folks. Mm-hmm. It's going to be quite a time.
At first, I didn't know where that was, so I'm like, is he at a mall or something? Is this a tube station? What's going on here? He's pretty happy about wherever it is, but...
No, because if let me tell you, I bet you if the camera was to turn just over to the right there in that picture, there'd probably be like lots of spoilery pics on desktops and stuff that you wouldn't be able to show anywhere, so...
And then... as we record as well, and I haven't had a chance to watch this, on the Graham Norton show last night, RTD was on as a guest.
I saw the 40 seconds where he mentioned Doctor Who, and it was nothing really. Just saying that Doctor Who's returning, that's all. I know that, and RTD was playfully chastising Graham Norton for being bored about Doctor Who or something like that, so.
Graham Norton, who has twice accidentally appeared on Doctor Who?
Yep. Called him out on it, so I saw it on Twitter. I can't remember who posted the little video, but no, he was there promoting the show with what's her name, Helen Bonham Carter. The thing,
Helen Bonham Carter, yes.
Oh, that one.
What's the show? You know the one on that one.
Nolly, I believe.
Nolly.
Something
like
that. One. Yeah, but
and Brendan Fraser was on there.
Brendan Fraser, Michelle Williams is on
Canadian
there.
Boy, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, I can't remember who else is on that show, but yeah, there was on Graham Norton, and there was a passing reference to Doctor Who. There is your Doctor Who Graham Norton report.
Which you sat tapping your finger waiting for.
I didn't. Thankfully, I forgot about it, and somebody posted it on Twitter, Warren, so it saved me an hour just to get to those 40 seconds, but, anyway. Hey, remember Target novelizations? That's a cool thing. Did you know that the Target book range is celebrating its 50th anniversary in 2023? And in summer of 2023, July 23rd by the looks of it, they will be putting out 5 new Target novelizations of modern series, 4 modern series and a classic series story. Kerblam, Planet of the Ood, The Zygon Invasion, that finally gets released. Waters of Mars, which is cool, and Warriors of the Deep, Warriors Gate, basically the novelization of the expanded audio novelization by Stephen Gallagher. So those are all, you can pre-order them all, I believe. I don't know if you can pre-order them in Canada, but there's links to it in the official press release. Peter Harness, of course, was his book was going to be originally released last year, along with a bunch of other ones. But COVID and him doing a new show on Apple TV Plus prevented him from doing that. But now it's nice to see that it's finally getting novelized now. So that's cool. That's cool. Also, Waters of Mars, too. That's going to be fun. For the friend of the show, Phil Ford, writing that one. So that's going to be fun. So have you read any of these novelizations? Warren, did you?
I own a few. I have not. I read some of the Day of the Doctor one, but it's I'm not going to say overly complicated. It's well put together, but it's Steven Moffat, so it's very intricate. So I'm like, I don't have time to read this right now. And I never got back to it.
Oh, I've heard good things about
Bad
that
fan, as per usual.
Yeah, me too.
We've bought a handful of them. I've not read them.
We're back.
No idea which ones we own. They're over in a different room. So.
No, I didn't buy physical copies. I know I have 3 or 4 of the digital versions. Certainly of Day of the Doctor, I have that one. But yeah. Anyway, that's cool. That's good stuff. I like that. I like, because novelizing is a different thing than TV writing and stuff. This is why Robert Holmes never novelized anything apart from the Two Doctors, even though they tried to get him to do that for years and years and years. So it'll be interesting to see how these titles are expanded, developed, that sort of thing.
He did a good job with Two Doctors, because I remember my utter disappointment watching the actual show after reading his very good novelization, going, "Oh, is that it? And this guy looks like Elton John? Okay, whatever."
Whereas some of us thought, "Hey, this guy looks like Elton John."
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. What else is happening in the news this week here, folks? Speaking of Steven Moffat, he's currently retweeting reviews of his play The Unfriend on Twitter as I write this. So as I talk about this, so naturally it's on top of mind. The Unfriend is a play he's written, directed by Mark Gatiss. It's on in England right now. But he did a short tour of his writing studio, which is kind of cool. There's with his computer and a bunch of books behind him and stuff. But then he has like a whole bunch of props. Like he's got a sonic screwdriver, a Matt Smith one, which and then there's a Silurian gun that was given to his little boy at the time,
who stole it, I believe,
and then they just forgot to bring it back. So he's got a Silurian gun.
I'm sure he's the first person to ever do that on a film set. Nobody else has ever done that.
No, there's a doodle from Peter Capaldi that Peter Capaldi made on his last day as Doctor Who, which is basically Stephen Moffat's last day on Doctor Who as well that he had. So yeah, it's a fun little tour. Always like hearing Stephen Moffat talk about things. So links in the show notes if you want to have a look at it yourself. And go see The Unfriend if you're in the UK. It's a stage play. Dark
His
comedy.
first, I believe.
I know. I haven't. I don't think I've ever heard of him doing a stage play before. So,
did you mention it was directed by Mark Gatiss?
I did indeed. Yes, I did.
Okay, I tuned out for a bit there.
That way to be on. Starring Reese Shearsmith and Amanda. What's her name? Amanda. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. She was in.
I don't remember.
Sherlock.
Amanda
Abington, and then Frances Barber in there as well. Frances
Sleep
Barber.
No More is Reese Shearsmith. Oh, that's
yes. I
He's
know.
never been anything else, of course, right?
Nothing whatsoever. Not Inside Number 9. Not in League of Gentlemen. Nothing.
Not the End of Adventure, Space and Time.
Nope. None of that. Some Big Finish stuff. There is some bonus audiobook downloads narrated by Doctor Who stars from the 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctor eras are coming from Big Finish in 2023. They include, as I scroll down through the news list because I didn't read this bit, Chris just laughs because he knows he's not going to help me. Gobbledygook is written by newcomer Fraser Lee, performed by Dan Starkey. You know him from Strax, of course. That's a 5th Doctor adventure. That comes out in April 2023. The Tale of the Multicolored Coat will accompany the 6th Doctor adventures Purity Unleashed. That's written by Paul Mars and read by our good friend Toby Haydock. How about that? Oh, no. Toby Haydock hasn't done a lot for Big Finish recently, so that's kind of cool. And then the final one, the Frozen Worlds, is written by Catherine Armitage and performed by one Sophie Aldred, and that comes out with the 7th Doctor adventures in June. So all that from Big Finish. There you go.
Huzzah.
Huzzah, indeed. All right. The one thing left to do in this week, as we celebrated Tom Baker's birthday this past weekend, which is great. We look back in the Timelash. This week it's brought to you by the music from Quiller. The show that I adore, despite having never seen.
What a surprise!
I know. It stars Michael Jaston and Murray Watson from Black Orchid, which I just watched, and a whole host of others. Don't tell me who's in it. I can't wait to spot the Doctor Who actors in it.
I don't care who's in it, so that solves that problem.
That's fine. January 22nd, looking back at this day in history. Happy birthday, Tommy Knight, who of course played Luke in the Sarah Jane Adventures, born in 1993. He is 30 years old.
An old man.
He's 30 years old. I interviewed him last year on stage at Gallifrey One, talking about Liz Sladen.
There's a Papa 29 though, so.
He was a mere 29, but he's a fun fellow. I like Tommy Knight. Very interesting cat. Yeah. Anything jump out at you on January 22nd? What do you got there, Warren?
1971 and 1972. Louis Marks in 1971 commissioned to provide a storyline for Day of the Daleks, although at this stage it is known as The Ghost Hunters and does not feature the Daleks, followed by the exact same day next year, debut broadcast of Day of the Daleks, episode 4 on BBC One. The best part of this whole thing, which nobody can see unless you're looking at the Timelash, is the Ogron is in both episodes, and he's like, it's the exact same picture, but I interpret him as going, interesting. Not so interesting.
like that famous clip from like a 1910s or something, where it's like the first bit of film editing, where it's the same clip of this guy, and then you show like a woman and then a piece of pie. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Yeah, maybe that's why Day of the Daleks is so good, is that the Daleks weren't initially in it, so it feels like they organically sort of come into it. I don't know. They don't have the same Terry Nation tropes, is what I mean to say.
Well, there you go. Louis Marks is commissioned to provide a storyline, so there we are.
Yeah. Did we talk about this last week? Or no, we talked about this during our mini-scope of Lenny Mayne, which is coming out on the Patreon supporters feed this coming week, and on the regular feed sometime in the future. But 1976, January 22nd, Douglas Camfield is commissioned to write The Lost Legion, which is intended to write out Sarah Jane Smith. Of course, that never came to be.
Write out / kill off.
Kill off. She's going to get killed off. Yeah.
And then 1996, you were talking about this one before we started recording, Stephen. Recording for Doctor Who the TV movie. Takes place at the studio in Burnaby, British Columbia.
We looked for the studio. We looked beforehand. We actually almost did proper research. We could not find it. I even looked at E.G. So's book, and he never mentioned which studio it was in. Yeah.
However, I could tell the audience that a dirty little secret of filming in Vancouver is that if you film outside of the Vancouver city area, you get tax breaks, which is why it was at a studio in Burnaby, which is literally, I used to work in Burnaby, right next door. Like, there's a road called Boundary Road, which is the boundary between Vancouver and Burnaby. If you cross that street, you're in Burnaby, and there are 3 film studios right there.
Wow.
Because that is called dodging taxes. Well, not really dodging, but taking advantage of tax rules, which is a film staple.
Lindsey Buckingham wrote a song about Boundary Road.
Pretty sure he didn't, but okay.
It's called Holiday Road.
From 2016.
What happened in 2016, Chris?
A, to stop your blathering, and B, to tie it in with an earlier story, Chris Chibnall announced as the exec producer and showrunner as of season 37.
So we're not doing that.
Shannon Zolan likes to put it as of
Yeah.
season 11.
Yeah, series 11 there. It's 2016. So I'm trying to think now. Man, like there's a longer run-in for like TV, like Doctor Who showrunners than there are like presidents, you know, like that's like the primary season for like, you know, what if there is a primary season for Doctor Who?
Here's the thing. In the case of the president who was around at that time, good.
It's a good point, actually. Yeah, I mean, that was in the midst of like no Doctor Who. Like, there's no Doctor Who in that entire year.
And Trump was president.
And
he awful world we live in.
It wasn't president yet. That was January 22nd. Yeah, that's like a year and a half before Jodie Whittaker even gets announced as the new Doctor, and we already know who the new showrunner is going to be. Man, something. And we had to wait.
I wonder if he knew at the time if that Jodie, like, did he know right then that Jodie Whittaker would be his choice or not?
I don't know.
You could possibly find that out at Gallifrey One.
Get this in Los Angeles, California, in 4 weeks' time.
Submit your question, your audience question in advance.
Yes, what a great thing! Oh God, let me tell you. Sometimes moderating panels at Chicago TARDIS, and they have like the live mic there, and it's just, oh God.
But then, how will I comment at length?
How many comments are there going to be here, and how many do I have to shut down?
Less a question, more of a comment.
Yeah. Please do not ask to hug the guest.
I was at a steel construction conference where that happened. I'm like, oh, it happens here too? Wow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. This guy was doing more of a comment and a question. I'm like, well, this is about something I couldn't care less about, but other than being paid to write about it.
Wow.
But my word, really? Seriously? You're doing this right now? Okay.
I don't know if I am. If I'm like sort of like heartwarmed by that, in that it's not just Doctor Who that does that. It's just like this is just conventions in general.
It's nerds of any stripe. It's just guys who almost always guys, not always, but almost always guys who need to show they know a thing.
Oh, I love that. Fabulous. Let's move on to January 23rd. everyone, this day in history. Actually, you know what? No, one more thing about the January 22nd. I want to mention the debut broadcast of the Daleks Master Plan, episode 11, The Abandoned Planet, which happened January 22nd, 1966. That is episode 11. 8 minutes into that, William Hartnell's doctor just disappears and doesn't really show up until like the last 10 minutes of part 12. And no one to this day knows why, which I love. I love that there's a mystery.
He just went to the pub. Who knows?
Yeah, as to why Hartnell is in those last 2 episodes so little. Was it?
So,
did he have an argument with John Wiles? Was he having I don't know. Nobody knows.
if you ever get a time machine, rather than going back in time to try to save missing Doctor Who stories, you can find out that answer.
I want to go to BBC's TV Centre.
I'll say this every time. You will never get your hands on a time machine. I will make sure you don't for this very reason. What a waste of human resources.
No, Warren, it's safe. Time travel is dangerous, all right? It's nothing to be trifled with.
So you shouldn't be doing it in the first place, not traveling back in time to screw up TV shows, which you will do. You will not save this TV show. You'll screw something up in the interim by doing this.
You know what? No, I think if I had the chance to change history, I know I wouldn't do it. That's far too. I would kill Hitler before I change the studio recording of a Doctor Who episode.
I can't really argue with that one, but okay.
Right? January 23rd. What happened? Anything of note you want to talk about on January 23rd in history?
And it's pretty,
1975, Tom
sparse.
Baker contracted for season 14.
Season 14. Oh, that's his third year. 75. He just started the damn thing. Wow. They must have sensed they had gold in Tom Baker right away.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, he got some pretty immediate positive reactions from the public, so yeah.
He did, yeah. Because that was, I'm trying to think when it was being broadcast at that time. We'll probably find out later in this very Timelash, because we're getting close to Ark in Space territory. But obviously Robot was such a hit with the BBC that they're thinking, yeah, let's lock this guy up. And
yeah,
they did.
well, at this point in time, this is the 23rd, so this would be between episode 4 of Robot and episode 1 of Ark in Space.
Right.
If I'm correct, because that's, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, that's cool. BBC did a better job at locking in someone than they did for poor Chris Eccleston. This guy's good, but he's gone now. And we're going to invent a reason why he left. Anyway.
It won't haunt us ever again. No, sir.
Not at all. 1986, January 23rd, Bonnie Langford is announced as new companion Melanie Bush.
And introduced in a very confusing fashion, which is never really explained all that well.
That's why I like that. I've always kind of liked that about, hey, she's already been there.
It's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
I don't fault them that. You know? I'm sure Big Finish has
baffles me.
created a backstory. I'm sure there's been an episode of Big Finish Doctor Who where...
Well, perhaps you could ask Bonnie Langford at Gallifrey One in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Get
Recording.
your audience questions put in advance.
And no comments.
No comments, please.
You're going to keep doing this, I might as well throw in my comment then.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else on January 23rd you want to talk about?
That's a lot of recording.
Jump the bit.
Recording for Planet of the Dead, still at Upper Boat Studios. I'm not sure if this is before or after Dubai. But,
Probably after Dubai. I think it went in December,
Also,
didn't it? Yeah.
Your favorite Doctor story is being recorded, Deep Breath,
Deep Breath.
2014.
I like Deep Breath.
I know you do. And you love Peter Capaldi. I'm just saying. This is where it all begins.
I know. I've heard
More
tell
or
that.
less, I don't know.
I know. Well. Anyway, let's move on. January 24th, 1975, a certain 6'10" Doctor Who podcaster, unmistakable at Gallifrey One in a mask or without a mask, is born. Happy birthday, Chris.
Cheers.
Cheers. Nothing else. Nothing happened in Doctor Who history on that day in history, but so sorry about that. But I mean, what else happened? What happened on the anniversary of your birth? I mean,
1964 here. The fragile yellow arc of fragrance is rejected, but Morris Farhi begins work on Farewell Great Macedon.
Oh, what a shame! Neither of those.
Those are
which
two mysterious
ever
stories.
happened.
Yeah. What a shame that is.
What did Morris Farhi get up to, too?
I don't know, but he died in the last couple of years. I know that. I'm sure he's written like so many more. Like he probably went on to a stellar writing career, but we remember him in Doctor Who circles as the person who wrote Farewell Great Macedon that never actually came.
Must be a complete failure if he only did this.
Yeah.
The fragrant yellow arc of fragrance.
Is that racist? That's not racist, is it? That's probably not.
I hope not.
It's 1964. You never know. Everything I look at with like, oh, I don't know anything about it, but it might be racist.
I'm not sure if this is a typo or what, but apparently the fragile yellow arc of fragrance allegedly was adapted as the fragrant yellow arc of fragrance, which I'm sure is a typo because that's too redundant.
Yeah.
But apparently it's a story about on an alien planet, somebody falls in love with Barbara, and she rejects him, so he has to die.
Okay.
The story was rejected because its subject matter was unsuitable for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Said David Whittaker.
That sounds like probably that Star Trek Next Generation episode where like Loxina Troy falls in love with David Augensteers and he has to die at a certain age or something like that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Morris Farr, he was an accomplished novelist, and he fought for authors being gotten out of repressive regimes. So he's a good guy, from the sounds of things. Yeah.
Yeah. He couldn't write a Doctor Who episode, could he?
So that's clearly all that measures one's worth. Yes.
Yeah. Well.
And the other one is them meeting Alexander the Great, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Which it still hasn't happened on screen in Doctor Who.
No, it hasn't, has it? I mean, Oliver Stone made the definitive work on Alexander the Great. So
there's an interview with Colin Farrell, who seems like a pretty nice guy from this interview.
Right.
But he was talking about how when they were making the movie, it seemed like great. He's like, well, okay, with this huge lineup of talent, forget about me, but me being him. Right. But like you've got Oliver Stone, you've got all these other people, you've got one of the greatest historical stories ever, and then it comes out and there's just a walloping from the critics, and he was like, wow, we really took one of the chin on this one. so he said it was quite surprising at the time.
It's always great when they cast Angelina Jolie to play his mother, and she was like 3 years older than him or something.
Yeah. I mean, not for the first time in Hollywood history.
Oh God, no!
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
I've seen it, and it's not the worst movie, but it's also definitely not the best movie. It's a great story to use, and Oliver Stone is a huge history nerd, so it's kind of disappointing that he screwed that up. Also, he had such a great run up to that point that this is kind of where Oliver Stone started declining, which he has done since for the last 20 years.
So, for ancient films from that year, Warren, would you take Troy or Alexander?
Alexander's
preferred?
more interesting. Troy's just a bunch of action nonsense.
That's true. Who directed Troy? I know Brad Pitt.
William Peterson, who
Wolfgang
did In the
Peterson.
Line of Fire and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, wow.
He did
He's a good director.
Das Boot.
Yeah, Das Boot. Yeah, that's true. Like, he's a decent director. It's an okay movie, but it's just a big Hollywood film from the 90s. Big deal.
Right.
Whereas Alexander at least is trying, even though it's not very good, it's at least trying for something.
No. Well, neither would have looked like what Farewell Great Macedon would have looked like on a Lime Grove Studio TV budget, but Christopher Langley in 1974 was commissioned to write a story called Space Station. I want to say that eventually became Ark in Space or parts therein. I think there was like elements of it. Am I right? I'm just off the top of my head.
Ark in Space replaced Space Station. That's what the Blurb says.
The phrase Christopher Langley is commissioned to write Space Station could very well be a song. Do you imagine a 70s song called Space Station? I don't know, played by the Bay City Rollers or something?
Yeah, I could totally see that. Jeff Wayne or something
Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah.
It says, so basically you're right, it did. Season 12 was largely constructed around Space Station, with Revenge of the Cybermen designed to use the same sets, and the Sontaran experiment intended to continue the story thread of Earth's abandonment by humanity. So
there we are.
Yeah.
My memory was right. Yay, memory. I don't remember anything. I've never seen any of the avatars, but I certainly know which discarded script ended up being Ark in Space.
I mean, up to you which is a more important one. Clearly Doctor Who stuff, which nothing wrong with.
Right. Happy
1979.
Happy 5th birthday, Chris. Yeah, what happened on your 5th birthday?
79? That wasn't my 5th.
Yeah.
It was 4th. Lala Ward contracted to play a new incarnation of Romana for season 17. The actor had appeared as Princess Astra, etc., etc. Her return had been championed by Tom Baker.
I wonder why.
I think he had
Intrigue,
special feelings in the special feelings area.
I think there was special feelings going on. As a kid,
Special
boy,
feelings
was I
of
upset.
his heart.
Yeah, I was upset because it wasn't Mary Tam anymore, and they didn't explain why. They go, "Why is this happening?" I'm upset.
Well, I was a teenager when that happened, so I was very blasé about it.
On Chris's 5th birthday, Terrence Dix is commissioned to write a revised version of his unused 1977 script, The Vampire Mutations, which will now become State of Decay. Yeah! It's good stuff. That's a good story.
It is good stuff.
Yeah. What else happened here? There's still.
I got 1984.
Here we go. What happened?
Recording for the Twin Dilemma takes place at BBC Television Studio 8 in White City, London. Immediately afterwards, it was referred to The Hague as a war crime.
Happy 9th birthday, Chris. We're recording. Listen, Chris, here's what happened here. Time Flight and Twin Dilemma were both recorded on your birthday in different years. And Fear Her also recorded. And The Doctor's Daughter. All recorded on your birthday in various
And
years.
42.
Hashtag
And
blessed.
42. I know. I'm ignoring the good ones that are on there, and
It's
just
far.
focusing on the bad in honor of your.
And I can't wait
birthday.
till we get to February 3rd.
I know. Oh, February. I don't know what happens. I know Frontios episode 4 broadcast on February 3rd. That's the only one I remember. But that's my birthday, everyone. That'll happen. That'll happen in a wee bit.
We'll get to that one next week.
Yeah, is it next week? Oh my God, it is too. Man, my birthday's coming next
Yeah,
week.
because we go to January 28th for this, and then, so we'll go to February 4th the week after.
Wow, getting older.
I got one more.
Getting older. What do you got there? One.
2011, Recording for A Good Man Goes to War takes place in Upper Boat Studios in Upper Boat, Wales, starring that person who's in Star Trek.
I know we
now.
talked
I don't
about that.
remember her
mentioned that
Yeah, because
last week.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
I said that last week.
Because her, I can't remember her
name. Oh,
name.
yes, that's right. Khan Miserable Singh,
Yeah.
whatever her name is.
Captain Doomscroll, I called her, or
There you
Lieutenant.
go. Yeah, that's a better
Doomscroll.
name.
Yeah, because she's just a very depressing character. But she wasn't in this. She was great. I think that's Christina Chong, isn't it? Is that her name? Who's in Doctor Who?
I think so. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
She's in A Good Man Goes to War. We move on. January 25th. Debut broadcast of the Daleks episode 6, The Ordeal, on January 25th, 1964. That happened.
I'm more interested in 1982.
What's
Peter
happening?
Grimwade is asked to provide 7 minutes worth of extra material for Time Flight.
Wow.
After the 3rd episode is found to be severely underrunning.
Which I read as severely underwhelming, which also works.
That works very well.
I do want to point out, actually, 1975, January 25th, debut broadcast of the Ark in Space episode 1. Because this was the episode where word of mouth took off with this new Doctor Who Tom Baker. Because the next week, and we'll get to that next week, is the highest rated Doctor Who episode of the entire classic series. It was like ranked fifth in viewing in the whole week, and basically because of what happened in this episode.
Yeah, episode 1, 9.4 million. Episode 2, 13.6 million.
Madness. Yep. Tom Baker's era as a Doctor truly begins, I think, in the Ark. I mean, it's the Philip Hinchcliffe era as well, so that's kind of where.
That's just 70s television, too. Like, when you think about it, TV has developed over the last 20 years to the point where it's really hitting it big in America and in England. So, of course, and there's nothing else to do, so just listen to BBC One, or whatever the radio station is. So, yeah, of course TV is going to get all these numbers. And it's good stuff. Ark in Space is great. But yeah, this is the time of the numbers, basically.
Yep, the time of the numbers. There's an episode title. It's like basically Return of Stats, which will never happen, everyone. Stats is dead. It's gone forever.
God.
Yeah. Anything else happen on January 25th you want to talk about before we move on? Anything exciting?
I think I'm good. For
Okay.
that day.
Off we go then. January 26th. Happy birthday, Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky turns 62 on January 26th.
Yeah, he will, won't he? Yeah.
Edmonton zone, more or less, kind of.
Brantford, Ontario zone.
I know.
When I was a kid, though, I was like just shocked and appalled to find out that he was not from Edmonton originally. I just what?
It's amazing what makes kids indignant. I'm no less innocent of this. Like I can't remember anything specific, but I'm sure I got mad about innocuous nonsense because as a kid you're like, what? How dare you?
This is just ridiculous. I remember when I was looking at the TV guide one night and I found that there was like 2 Elvis Presley movies playing on different channels at the same time. I said, what? How does this happen? How could it? Because I assumed that everything was just live and everything, and he was just like in the TV maybe. And
that's how Spider-Man goes from building to building. He sticks his webs to the top of your TV.
Webs to a different TV.
Except for Elvis, it's the reverse. He's shooting TVs, not.
That's true.
He's shooting webs. I want to see Elvis shooting webs.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I want to see
Elvis. He'll be in the Spider-Verse, I'm sure.
Yeah, I want to see Doctor Who shooty. God, wow.
1981. 1981 on that day.
What happened?
Director Paul Joyce writes to John Nathan Turner to apologize for the chaos surrounding the production of Warriors Gate.
Wow. But you're still not getting hired back, apologize. Never again.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody apologizing to John Nathan Turner for chaos is quite ironic.
I know. That's early on in the days of John Nathan Turner chaos, too. Later on, it'd be John Nathan Turner causing the chaos, or at least being directly affected by it, or, feeling like he's being insulted by literally everyone he meets. Let's have a look here. I want to point out...
87?
No, I want to point out 85. 85 was the debut broadcast of Vengeance on Varos, Episode 2. I remember that because January 26, 1985, I was at the Northlands Coliseum watching Wayne Gretzky score goals number 49, 50, and 51 in a 6-3 Oilers win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yes, on his birthday, he scored a hat trick to get 50 in that year.
Edmonton's own Sill.
Edmonton's own Bill Shaban on Vengeance on Varos. I don't think anybody from Edmonton has been in Doctor Who.
I don't think anybody from Canada has been in Doctor Who.
Oh, no, lots of people
but in canon. There hasn't been a Canadian companion.
Oh,
Isn't
no.
Bill Filer supposed to be Canadian for some reason? Or I just make that up in my head?
No, because he's American, obviously. He's an American. He's working for the CIA. You wouldn't be able to be
I must have made up in my head that he was Canadian. I don't know why.
I think we thought that the actor, Paul Grist.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if that's the case or not. Yeah. What the hell? It's been 60 years, BBC Doctor Who. Put a Canadian in Doctor Who. Come on.
Well, the thing is, nobody Canadians and Canadians barely care. So there's that.
Canada's not even been. We had to just imagine that because, Niagara Falls is in the background of that Nikola Tesla episode, there's Canada's first proper appearance in Doctor Who.
All you got to do is, you know what? I can't remember the pilot, I think. They go to Australia for like 2 seconds. They're running around in some blue screen that's supposed to be Australia. Just do that. Just pander to us for 10 seconds. Have I know it's going to be Toronto, so just have the CN Tower in the background.
Exactly. I mean, even that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, I can't remember what it is, like season 1 or season 2, where they're floating through and they're looking at like little portals to get off this thing and they float through and there's like Toronto City Hall for some strange reason. It's like right there. It's like even Star Trek The Next Generation showed Canada.
Here's the thing. We are so sad as a nation.
We even shot an episode of Doctor Who in Canada, and it wasn't Canada. It was stupid.
That's most of the
Canadian film industry is that.
I know. Still.
In double checking, Paul Grist was born in Wales.
Anyway. So he's not Canadian. He didn't play a Canadian. No one's played a Canadian. Everyone's played an American. Justin Chatwin, who was in the Return of Dr. Mysterio, is from Canada. Amongst many, there's been many Canadian actors, but none playing a Canadian on screen. I'm so jaded by January 26th now. I just want to move on. What's
including in your favorite story, the Gunfighters.
I love the Gunfighters. I do want to point out January 26, 2020, debut broadcast of Fugitive of the Jadoon. I just watched this a couple, 2-3 nights ago. Man, is it good. Wow, what a story.
Still holds up.
That's great.
What an episode. I am really enjoying Series 12. There are some staggeringly good stuff in Series 12 of Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm glad I'm watching them all again. But it's also kind of weird. Like, we're recording this January 21st. I'm watching The Timeless Children tonight. And it just feels like that's like the last that's the last full season of Doctor Who we've had, because Flux was only 6 episodes, It just feels like, holy
and the
crap.
new stuff's only 8 episodes.
Yeah, that's true. But the Whoniverse, Chris. The Whoniverse.
But the Whoniverse.
Whoniverse.
Yes, the Drax Chronicles will have to tide you over.
Drax Chronicle, yep. The
Hey, Big Finish has got it for you if you need it.
Yeah, I like watching stuff.
1987. 1987, to go back to there, a character outline is issued for a potential new companion named Alf, which later inspired Ace.
Can you imagine if it was the puppet? With his annoying and very American Bone Mo at the TARDIS console. Hey, here's a dumb, stupid thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
Laugh track.
Listen, people when they were thinking about, I think were they working in like a jive talking console into one of the early ideas of the Fox TV movie
really?
point? Yeah, it was.
Oh no!
You may joke, Warren. You may joke.
I'm not joking at all. I'm just lamenting that this was ever
Isn't
an idea.
that basically Handel's when he's in the console room?
No, Handles does not jive talk. Handles is the best companion and a good boy. You so handle some respect.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Pat on the head.
And well done, mate. Well done.
What a sad scene. Well done, Matt Smith. What a great performance.
Well done, Handles. Well done, Handles.
Oh, I know that, but like,
you give him his due.
Okay, I will. By moving on to January 27th.
Yeah, fair enough.
Patrick Troughton, 1967. Patrick Troughton is contracted for an additional 23 episodes, beginning with the faceless ones. Here, we'll throw you another 23. There you go. Michael Craze, 12. Read between the lines, Michael Craze.
Well, at the end of the day, the companion's going to be less important than the Doctor as far as story goes. I mean,
that's true. Well,
enough.
The sad thing is that Craze is contracted for another 12 episodes, starting with the Macatera. So that's Macra covered, that's Faceless Ones covered, and then it goes into episode 2 of Evil of the Daleks. Guess what? Michael Craze and Ben and Polly are done at the end of Faceless Ones, and they're done by episode 3. 2. Their last appearance is in episode 2, and they're on film for episode 6 of the very finale. They're barely in that story that they're already being paid out for. Innes Lloyd, man, that is cold.
I want to know more about what's happening with 1971 here.
What do you got? What's going on there?
Susan Jameson learns that she has been replaced in the role of the villainous Morgan for Colony in Space by Tony Conter due to head of serials Ronnie Marsh's concerns about fetishistic overtones.
Yep.
Well, I read that and I did an image search, and he is correct.
Well, because Tony Conter.
Can you expand on that, Warren?
She's a very attractive woman in the 1970s.
Is it like because of the IMC outfits?
Yeah,
or
yeah, exactly it. And because the character is very,
stern and bossy and domineering, I guess, which would come across different at the time. And I'm not that a character couldn't be this, but I can see why in 1971 this happened.
Yeah, I think the role was, I don't know if it was written as a woman, but Michael E. Bryant certainly cast a woman in that role, Susan Jameson. And I think, I could be wrong, I think Susan Jameson ended up being a voice of a computer or a readout or something like that in that. Like Bryant was just basically trying to throw her a bone here a little bit, just to give her some employment here because she, he thought that it was a pretty rum deal from Ronnie Marsh back in the day. So
also, that's kind of 1971 overcompensating. A woman in charge? That'll be fetishistic.
Yeah,
maybe, but maybe the audience would have reacted that way. But still, it's like with the hindsight of almost 60 years of, or 50 years, I guess. It comes off a little weirdly in 2023, whereas maybe it did in 71. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like in 1978 they would have been okay with that. Seeing some of the Doctor Who was going on in 1970s, later 70s, they would have been pretty okay with that. Robots of Death alone would be like,
true, good point.
Yeah,
yes.
Also directed by Michael E. Bryant. What else happened? Chris Boucher, 1976, January 27th, is commissioned to write The Face of Evil, thus beginning a long and successful and brilliant.
I just watched that the other day,
television.
right after he died.
Oh, really?
It still holds up. It's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
It is. Chris Boucher, such a great writer. Equally great is The Armageddon Factor, and Bob Baker and Dave Martin are commissioned to write it on January 27th, 1978. A full year, less a week of the broadcast of its first episode. Episode 2 went out on January 27th, 1979. There you go.
1983.
Yep. Okay, I know what you're going to say, but go on.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just stuff that got combined, but Philip Martin commissioned to write the final three episodes
Yes.
of Vengeance of Navarros.
That's
so
confusing.
he wrote one and then wrote the other three, and then they combined it into two parts.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
double
The
length, I
the
guess,
idea
that must be
of putting 45-minute episodes was not yet finalized at that point.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Douglas Camfield died January 27th, 1984. Very young, had a heart condition, and he died, I think it was early 50s or something like that. Like, tragic. I think he was asked to be come back and direct The Five Doctors, but he was unavailable, and then he died less than a year later. So very sad. What a titan! What a titan of a director for Doctor Who. I think he directed some episodes of The Sweeney too. Warren. Speaking of The Sweeney.
Oh, well. Yes. So I won't be watching his output, is what you're saying.
Possibly not. Bet you did a good job of it, though. Bet you did a great
Probably.
job. Yeah.
I'll never know.
Anything else on the 27th jump out?
Just a pile of recordings.
Yeah, a lot of recordings. That's right. We move on. January 28th, our final day here. Maureen O'Brien, 1965, January 28th. Her contract is extended for an additional 14 episodes. 14, starting with The Crusade, which I just
Take
watched.
that, Michael Craze.
Yeah. See? I know how to. So what is that? Crusade PQR, which is 14 right there. That's the Crusade. So all the way through the chase, basically, is how she got contracted out. And then the Time Meddler, and then she came back from vacation and said, guess what? You're no longer in Doctor Who. Hope you had a good time, though. Hope you had a good time spending all that money that you no longer have. What a happy day.
Well, that took a weird moralistic turn, but okay.
It really did. And also, just to show you how Doctor Who was being made at the time, in 1967, the debut broadcast of The Underwater Menace, Episode 3 on BBC One, that exact same day, The Underwater Menace Episode 2 or 1 is being made. Like, they're literally 2 weeks out, maybe even 1 week. I can't remember at that point. Yeah. Utter madness. Utter madness. Can you? That's as close to live as Doctor Who's ever been. Quite something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, especially since it's only a 4-episode story.
I know, but they had the whole rest of this. I know the Moonbase, episode 4, they had an audio problem with it, but they had to basically work with it as best they could because it was airing the next week, and they went all the way up until the end of The Evil of the Daleks, making an episode a week before broadcast.
This is how TV works. It doesn't.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Anyway, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up the Timelash for another week, and indeed an episode of this here podcast, Doctor Who Radio Free Skaro. Next week, more of the same, potentially, or maybe some stuff will happen. Who knows? We'll find out. Maybe we'll have a live show to talk about and a schedule a little bit to touch upon for Gallifrey One. There's a feature that we're sort of waiting on that we might pop out here too as well. That might go on next week's episode.
Maybe some lousy episodes were filmed on February 3rd.
One can only hope.
That's true. It's true. I can't wait. I have not looked ahead. I'm going to discover
bring me the crap from decades beyond.
I'm going to leave the surprise for next week.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's always good to be surprised. So, all right, folks. Thanks for tuning in, as always, to this here podcast this week and all weeks over the past 16 years. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Victoria.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.